Welcome to Today's Homeowner with Danny Lipford. Expert advice on improving your home from remodeling contractor Danny Lipford and the home improvement pros from Today's Homeowner magazine.
Some people remodel their home because they need more living space. Others are just wanting to upgrade their existing areas. Yet others are wanting to add a specialty room, which is what we'll look at on this week's show. 3 different types of specialty rooms, including a home theater room that used to be seen only in those high-dollar Hollywood homes, but are far more commonplace today. Also, home gyms, because we're all trying to take a little better care of ourselves, and home offices are also a very strong trend. We'll show you a number of things that need to be considered if you're thinking of adding one of these type of rooms to your home. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the show. Now, this addition that's being built on this home will be a combination game room and media room. Now, before any of the drywall was installed, a large number of wires were routed all the way around the room as well as in the ceiling area. Now, these wires were for speakers, phone lines, a little bit of cable TV, as well as several electrical outlets. Now, there's a lot to consider when you're building any kind of specialty room, but especially a media room or home theater room. Now, recently we spoke with Blake Yoakum, who's an expert in this field, on a project that he just completed. Well, Blake, this is a great looking room you put together here.
Turned out fabulous, from the audio-video equipment we used to the decora and right down to the acoustics of the room itself.
Well, now the whole home theater room thing, I mean, that's really gotten popular over the last few years. I know it's kept you busy.
Yes, sir. It's definitely exploded, and over the past 10 or 15 years, it's really evolved into a room that's used solely for entertainment, actually. So a lot of things are happening in the home theaters. We're trying to keep the decor looking real fabulous, as well as the acoustics of the room real well.
Well, I know you're involved also early in a lot of stages in homes or additions that are being built in terms of consulting on the size of the room and different elements of it. What are some of the things you have to consider when you're building a room like this?
Well, the size of the room, yes, you want it to be able to entertain the proper amount of guests that you might have, but in this room where we used a 2-piece projection system, we're trying to keep the light to a minimum, so we didn't have any windows in this particular room.
Okay, what if it's a situation that maybe people just, can't dedicate this much of their house for a home theater room? What are some of the considerations in terms of like utilizing a family room or a living room for the same purpose?
Absolutely. That's the majority of what happens. Is it's a family room that we're putting a system within. So furniture placement's a consideration, the windows, as well as the fireplace placement. That typically is going to dictate where the TV is going to go itself.
Okay, and I know acoustics play a big part in it, whether you have a home theater situation or just a media room where you're really wanting that good sound. I see there's fabric, there's everything you need in here.
Absolutely. We used acoustical treatment here with covered panels as well as a carpeted floor, and then back behind you we've got the curtain with the panels behind it. We're trying to keep down the reflective surfaces in the room and have some absorbed material to make the room as dead as possible, quiet like a movie theater would be.
I was going to say, this whole thing looks a little bit like the theater, so you kind of understand now why the curtains and the look of a theater is what it is.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I guess that goes the same way as far as the multi-level that we have here. You're seeing more and more theaters that kind of have the stadium seating.
Exactly. We've done that within the home also, so that way you can see, if you're sitting in the back, you can see over the viewer in front of you's head and still get a great picture that way.
Well, obviously there's got to be some great sound coming out of this with all this menagerie of speakers here. Tell us what we're looking at.
Absolutely. This is a center channel speaker that we've used here. We've got our right-hand speaker and our subwoofers. In this case, we used a pair of them. And we used also a pair of rear channel speakers that are flush mounted at the back end of the room, the surround channel.
Okay. All right. Now, equipment. I see that this equipment is arranged in the back so that when you come into the room, you can turn on anything that you need to. But what do you tell a homeowner that's looking to either utilize existing equipment, or they're maybe trying to buy some new one or trying to integrate old and new? Where do you start on that?
Absolutely. I typically have the customer make us a grocery list of their existing equipment, and we start as a base. And at that point, we decide what they're going to upgrade or what they might add to the system: DVD machines, VCRs, satellites, and maybe they might incorporate a background music system linked up to the home theater.
Okay, all right, and you make it real easy with networking all of this together and even putting it on a remote control.
Absolutely. Our number one goal is to make the system easy to use. I don't want the customer to have to go through a procedure. If they want to watch their VCR, they hit the button that says VCR, and that's what happens instead of going through a startup procedure of getting the system going. We're trying to keep the systems as easy as possible to use, to keep it fun. I mean, let's face it, a lot of things that they're doing when they're building a new home aren't fun, picking out certain appliances. This should definitely be fun.
Well, definitely with a specialty room like this, it has to be fun, and I'm sure it works well. And while you're looking at our simple solution segment, I'm going to see how this thing works.
Get ready to review your fix-it list as Danny and today's Homeowner Magazine repair and maintenance editor Joe Truini show you this week's simple solution. Brought to you by Dodge.
Interior room painting is a project that any homeowner can handle, but before you start applying paint to the walls, you need to protect the flooring.
Now that's where drop cloths come in handy, but the problem with using drop cloths is when you're actually working and painting on the walls, your feet will kick the drop cloths and you still end up with paint right on the floor.
To prevent that from happening, what you need to do is protect the flooring with a strip of 2-inch wide masking tape. Press the tape tight against the baseboard trim and flat against the flooring. Then spread out your drop cloth and put the edge of it on the first layer of tape. Now you don't have to be concerned with how straight the drop cloth is. As long as it covers the first tape layer, you can then adhere it to the floor with a second layer of tape. Now in this case, we're using it over a carpeted floor, but this technique will work on hardwood flooring or vinyl flooring as well.
Now you can also use an inexpensive, lightweight type plastic, but the problem with using plastic is when you're dropping the paint, it'll stay wet and you end up tracking it all over the place.
If you do have to use a plastic drop cloth, cover it with several layers of newspaper. This way if you do spill any paint, the newspaper will absorb the paint spills.
Now of course you're going to spend more on a canvas drop cloth, but it'll last you for a long, long time. Now, if you're like a lot of people these days, you may become a little more conscious about your health and fitness. Well, if you don't have enough time to go to the gym every day, you may consider doing what these homeowners have done, is create your own home gym. Now, in the addition that was built onto this home, which is only 16 feet by 16 feet, look at the amount of equipment they've been able to pack into this area. They've really used the space very efficiently, but they also did several things that's very important if you're considering a home gym. First of all, plenty of light. It's nice to have natural light coming into the room, but by utilizing transom windows like they've done here, they're saving the wall space for mirrors, and a number of different pieces of equipment that you will use to exercise need to attach to the wall. Also, they've provided a separate heating and cooling system so that they can work out all year long, but they can cut the system off when they're not using the area. Also, they've used a commercial grade carpet that really doesn't show wear and tear very much and will hold up with all the walking that takes place all around all the equipment. Now that's the key thing to a home gym, is choosing the right equipment. I'm with Brian Bumpers, who helps a lot of people decide on just what kind of equipment they need for their home gym. What are some of the things you ask people when they're coming in to select the equipment?
Well, usually the first question we ask, Danny, is what are your needs? What type of exercises do you want to do, whether it's strength training, aerobic training, or free weights or home gyms?
Okay, all right. Something like this really fits in a very small area. It really wouldn't take much room at all.
It really doesn't. The home gyms today are really compact, or they can be compact. It
Right.
depends on your needs. You know, we have done some as small as, you know, that go into walk-in closets all the way to, you know, redone bedrooms and sunrooms and the like. So.
Okay, and really height requirements on any ceiling are not very high because, well, it's only, what, about 7 foot?
Right, as long as you have 7 foot, you have plenty of clearance. So.
Okay, all right. Well, now, as far as some of the other things that you may need to consider as far as a home gym, I know dumbbells, that's probably something that's almost a necessity.
It really is. There's, you know, as many things as you can do with the home gyms. We like to add dumbbells and some of the other handles and attachments that go along with it to really round out your workout.
Okay, all right. People ask all the time about why mirrors. You know, people
Right.
just think, well, all these guys working out are so vain, but there's more to it than that. It's really a safety issue.
It really is. It's not vanity, really. As you're working out with free weights especially, you need to see your form to make sure you're doing the exercise properly, you know, make sure you get the proper results and no injuries. Plus, it also really opens up a room. If you've got, like say, a bedroom that's not a large room, it really makes it look a lot larger. So it is a visual effect as well.
That's true. We try that trick in little small bathrooms a lot too to make
Right.
it really look a lot larger. Now, of course, we're talking about strength training in a gym like this and dumbbells and so forth, but it looks like the aerobic side of the showroom's over on this side. Tell me about this. I'm really not familiar with this piece of equipment at all.
Well, this is a relatively new piece of equipment called an elliptical trainer. It mimics walking or running or cycling, but without the impact that you get. Step on up, I'll show you how they work.
Let's see. Hope I don't break my leg here.
Not at all. You just get rolling there, and you'll notice a nice fluid motion, but you don't have any jarring on your joints.
Well, I know a lot of people that have been running for 10 and 15 years, and they've started saying that pounding that pavement starting to affect the joints. This really addresses that.
It really does. You know, that, and not just the years of pounding, but also, you know, sports injuries and things of that nature.
Okay, now what about treadmills? They've been around a long time. Are they still popular?
They are still the #1 seller. You know, that's kind of our catch-all. If someone doesn't know what they want, that's usually where we start. So.
Well, even those that still run actively, those cold mornings are hard to get up and get out in that cold weather.
That's an ideal place for a treadmill.
Okay. Now what about cost? Naturally, you're dealing with real good quality equipment that's going to last as long as you want it to last. I know there's a lot of those things out there on the market that are real inexpensive and almost frustrating to use. I've tried those, but what about cost on a unit like this?
Well, this particular elliptical runs about $19.95, which is a good middle-of-the-road price for a home elliptical.
Okay. All right. What about the home gym we looked at there?
About $12.95. So.
Okay. All right. So if you say $3,000 for both of these, and then maybe another $1,000 for all of the other accessories, $4,000. You're in pretty good shape as far as that.
Really get you a good start.
Okay. All right. Or at least you're in good shape in order to get into good shape.
That's right, Dan.
Okay. Well, thanks, Brian. Some great information, and stay with us. After our best new product segment, we'll look at another specialty room that's very popular, maybe not as fun, the home office.
It's time to check out this week's best new product with Danny and today's Homeowner Magazine Editor-in-Chief, Paul Spring. Brought to you by the Home Depot.
Now, Paul, I just love the best new products that will make your home safer, and I understand this is one of the safest water heaters in the country.
It is, Danny. This is developed by American Water Heater. It's called the Flame Guard system. Most water heaters are out in the garage, and as soon as you tip over that gasoline can filling the lawnmower, those gasoline vapors travel along the ground. They're heavier than air, and they can ignite the pilot light, and boom, you have a disaster.
Now, codes require on new homes that you raise your gas water heater approximately 18 inches to prevent this kind of problem.
But even if you have that 18 inches up off the ground, this will give you an extra measure of safety. Danny, I'm going to show you how down here. Just remove the cover. You can see this is a sealed combustion chamber. It meters the amount of combustion air that goes into the pilot light.
Now, usually this is completely open on a regular water heater.
It is. Because it's sealed, it has two effects. One, less vapor will get inside to the pilot light itself, and if a fire does start in there as a result of gasoline vapor, it is prevented from spreading from there, and then there's a thermal switch that knocks the gas off and puts the fire out.
Now, when things like this are introduced a lot of times on the marketplace, they can be fairly expensive. How does this compare with normal water heaters? This
is not an expensive water heater. It runs $230 more or less for about a 30-gallon heater.
Now, another specialty room that's really growing in popularity is the home office. Now, when you're ready to set up your home office, the first thing you need to do is select your furniture. Well, nowadays, in a furniture showroom like this, there's so many different pieces of home office furniture that are available that just don't look commercial. Here's a great example. Now, of course, everything's tucked away. All you do, tilt down, here's your keyboard, here's your mouse pad, and there's several other little cabinets here with everything you need for that computer and your home office that you're able just to tuck away out of sight. Now, that's a good point, is being able to tuck away a desk area if your desk is like mine and a little bit messy, or you may just not have enough room for a large cabinet section like that. The office in the box. Looks like a regular armoire, but when you open it up, you see that it's actually very well customized with roll-out trays for the keypad, and you have a nice long desk section here. And then down below, your power strips are already built in, and other storage for anything you need for the computer or the home office. And again, you can just close it and tuck it away. Of course, in a showroom like this, there's also all kinds of different woods and stains so that you can match the furniture in your home. But now the most important part of any home office is to set it up very efficiently. Now let's visit with someone that's done just that. Well, looks like space is working out real good for you, Christy. This is Christy Mossberg, who recently moved her office from a commercial space into her home. How's it working out?
It's working out great, Danny. It's just we decided to take this bonus room and convert it to an office, and it's worked great. It's worked
Okay,
real good.
how about the space? Did you have to do really very much in terms of any remodeling or construction?
We
on
did
it?
put in the skylight
Well, that's a
because we
great
wanted
idea.
some natural lighting in the room, and I revamped my thoughts on furniture. I'd put home furniture in my home office, and it didn't work. So what I've done is I investigated furniture and found this to work very well. With me being advertising, I've got 10 things going on at one time.
Sure.
So I've got good workspace. You've got to have your tools, you know, of course, phone system, cell phone. I'm usually working off too, and your computer. And with the computer, you can. That's why so many people are working from
Sure,
home.
and that's perfect. All
Yep,
that tucked
right,
away right under there.
Right, right.
And then, of course, your laptop, your monitor. I see your
Fax
fax machine
machine,
over in the
fax
corner,
machine,
printer, and plenty of file storage.
Plenty of file storage. It's working out wonderful.
Well, you know, one of the things about home offices that we found is the location of them in terms of proximity to the living area. Now, this one has the stairs leading down to the hallway and so forth. It's far enough away that you can probably get a little work done, but close enough that you can kind of still monitor what's going on downstairs.
Well, it's real important for people, if they're going to have a home office and conduct business in their home, they have got to allow space for specifically that home office. They can't be in the living room, the bedroom. They've got to respect their space.
Sure.
And it's real important to take time and investigate what you should do with your home office.
Right. Okay. What else are you planning on doing to the space to kind of finish it off?
What I want to do is I'm exploring lighting, the best lighting, and I'm going to put it. I've got a window. Going to do a window seat, and so if I want to take my laptop and write and look out the window, I can, and do some shelving.
I see.
Do some shelving.
Good, good. Well, it's really worked out well. I can see where you can get a lot of work done here.
I am. I love it. I love working at home.
Now let's go outside for Around the Yard with Danny and lawn and garden expert Barbara Katz.
Now, I know this crepe myrtle needs a little pruning attention, but I'm not really sure where to start.
Well, actually, Danny, you know, it's not too bad. You've got a nice structure that you've started to develop. It's a little dense up here, so I think you should thin it out so you can get the air circulating through. It's also going to look nicer. And I can see right here you've got a branch that's actually crossing and rubbing right here with this larger branch. And whenever you've got this kind of a crossing branch, you got to cut it out because it introduces disease and insects. So I would start by taking most of the heavy weight off with your loppers, and we'll bring it down a little bit before we do the main cut. It's important to make the right cut for the health of the tree, but a lot of homeowners are still a bit confused about just where that right cut is. If you cut too high like this, you leave a stub, and as that stub dies back, it invites disease and insect damage. The other cut that people sometimes make is they come in real close to the main trunk, and they cut right on top of what we call the collar here. And in fact, by doing that, they end up actually wounding the tree, and it never fully recovers. So if you can identify this collar and then just come in just in front of it like that, you'll do the cut exactly where it should be. If you make the cut like this, you'll do the tree a big favor.
Now, whether you have a room in your home that's designed for a home office, home gym, or media room, or you combine the use of the room like these homeowners have done with a game room and media room, you need to do some careful planning. Because electrical outlets, lighting, speaker systems, and even extra support in the floor system have to be done very early in a renovation project. Now, I hope we've been able to provide you some information that'll help you when you're considering one of these projects. I'm Danny Lipford, and we'll see you next week here on Today's Homeowner.